Hello again, and welcome back to a new scenario. This will be the 11th scenario in my Parkitect campaign, or custom campaign to be exact. Today's map is going to be called Hyperion City. This is a sci-fi inspired map and also very inspired by a RCT2 map called Future World from Time Twister. The idea of making a town or a future city in the middle of a desert, I don't know, environment basically, and the idea is that you build in the city with a whole bunch of buildings, so it's gonna be high scenery based. But the challenge in this map might change during development, but the main idea is that you have to build 8 coasters for a certain amount of, I don't know, either excitement or intensity. Haven't decided yet, but it will get to that point. But I'm just right now planning out the park border, and that big giant circle I did off-site. I figured out how to do some basic grid-based circles, basically. So that was just kind of like a Google search. But that's where the city's gonna sit, and the rest of the area is where you can build your roller coasters and set other rides. Also, I have the idea of making a monorail in the city, as a public transportation that you guys can use. I haven't planned out where that's gonna sit yet, but I had to make sure that the monorail is going to be part of the idea. I just have a very fond memory of this map from RCT2 for some reason, and it's stuck for me for this long, and so I decided maybe to make that inspiration for this map. So right now I'm planning out the streets where they're gonna go with just regular pathways, because that's what's gonna be, paths. Figuring that out. I don't know if I'm gonna let you destroy the city. I think it would be best if you could destroy the city so you can build coasters in and out, stuff like that. Because if I make it non-destroyable, then you guys can't play much into it. Right now I'm gonna work on here is the main street to Hyperion City. Speaking of this map was originally going to be some asteroid field, but that might be a later map down the line. I kind of lost inspiration working on that. You might have seen a post on Reddit that I made an asteroid test for a map. I might get back to that later. I don't know yet. But Hyperion City is been calling me for doing. Oh, the project's been calling me to do this. I don't know. I got inspiration to do this like Future City. I want to do more sci-fi maps because the only other map I have is Delta 5. So this would kind of match Delta 5 maybe, but this is just a city in the middle of some desert planet. Not sure what the planet's name. We could make up planet names for all we want. I mean, if you guys want to have some suggestions in the comments, can't speak today. You can put that down below, and we'll decide what I will actually call the planet this Hyperion City sits upon. But yeah, I have at least 3 or 4 other ideas for scenarios that will probably go later. I probably will be slowing down on scenario making because I did complete my personal goal of 10. But this was calling my name, and I was like, okay, let's just make some sci-fi more map, because I don't think there's enough in the workshop. And in the original campaign you get Nova Labs and RoboPark in the campaign, and that's not, in my opinion, sci-fi enough. So yeah, I'm just gonna try my hand at it. So as I ramble on, I've already finished you can call maybe an entrance to the city gate, a border crossing, basically. It's a border crossing building, so it's very sci-fi. I'm making some pipes just kind of go out in the middle of nowhere. Don't know what they're connected to. That doesn't really matter. It's just pipes, details, stuff like that. So on this map, there are 2 entrances. So there's one entrance on this side, and there's another entrance on the other side of the map. So you have to have, you have 2 entrances. So it's actually wait, I don't think there's any campaign that has 2 entrances on 2 different sides of the map. I might be wrong, but RCT2 did this a lot, so I'm going to try to copy that. The streets lines are with the hangar parts, and then I did the actual coloring of the that special technique that Studio Cavey, or I can't pronounce his name, but he did that with the color type, where you make it like 999 on a color coordination, and for some reason it brights it up, and it looks like it's glowing, but it's not. So I did that technique for all the whole streets are going to be glowing, so it's going to be like a mix of Tron and a little bit of sci-fi, because sci-fi could be almost anything, but there is a sci-fi trope that we can go off. It would be glowing lights, lots of curves, lots of antennas, pipes, is kind of what sci-fi is going for. So that's what I'm going to try to do. As we go on through this video, the streets will change. I did some street changes off screen, so you'll see some of the differences as we go on. But in this video, I'm working on 2 buildings. They don't have any story-driven stuff yet, because it's just building the basics of the scenery to get ideas for what the story could be. So yeah. Here I'm building some, like, I don't know, you can say these are some type of energy vents to generators or something. So I tried out some different things. I like the big giant gears on top, so I don't use these as often, and so I thought these were different into making a generator, so that's what I did. I did a border around the entire place, or the entire city limit. I did that off screen. Now off to the first building that I get to work on. This might be an office building, it might be an apartment building, I don't know. It doesn't really have anything driven story-wise, but curves. So I did basically the border of the building around, and then built from there. And I was looking at some real buildings recently, and some buildings are built with like the bottom is pushed in, but then the rest of the building on top goes out, because you want to make some like plaza area at the bottom. So I had that idea too. I had that idea for this building, so I'll be adding pillars all around it to give it that inset look. So it's like a building could be made of some type of space rock. I don't know this planet's surface necessarily, but I know it's a desert planet, and I can add other things in the details back there, like, I don't know, I'm thinking about doing some crashed UFO or something, or a spaceship. I plan on making a lot of custom vehicles for this map, maybe, like flying cars, because the map from RCD 2 has like flying cars in it and floating pathways, and so I might do that for this map. And then also the monorail will go through town. I haven't figured out where that's going to go. This little detail I'm putting on here goes away, because I'm also trying to think not to put too much detail in the map so that you get this overwhelmingly good decoration score. That's kind of hard when I want to really like detail everything. So I'm trying to keep with basic shapes and basic walls, because I know that basic walls don't give off much decoration. I think the things that give off most decoration would be all the different items from the prop side, so like space props to western props. They give you the most stuff, and I know that the bigger the prop, the more it gives. Like the water tower gives a lot of positive score on the decoration stuff. So I'm gonna try to keep myself somewhat limited basically. I don't want to do too much, but yeah. Same thing with, I don't think shapes give off all that much detail decoration rating either. I don't know, I haven't checked that yet, but I like using shapes a lot, so we'll see. If you also notice that as I pan around in circles, the depot building is going to be exactly in the middle of the city, so it's not going to be like really hard to get your food stuff and your gift stuffs basically. So I kind of decided to make it in the center of the city. I will decorate that maybe as a giant tall tower, because as you go toward the center of the city, the building should get taller. So off to finishing some roof details for the this office building. I'm going to call it an office building because it has no name. Anarchy really helped me here because I have the buildings on half a grid. Yeah, these walls are on a half a grid as I go up. So Anarchy helped really a lot here in the wall placements and stuff. And I'm probably going to use that as much as I can in this map because of all how sci-fi is kind of not grid based. It's kind of very lots of curves and lots of odd shaped buildings. So on to finishing border details. Always more border details. Tons of grunt work, basically. The other goals for this scenario, as I think about it, could be guest count as normal. Maybe a higher... I wish we had a happiness rating, but I don't think we do. We can do like some other, I don't know. I like the 8 coaster idea, because I know that Coaster Canyon has what, up to 6 coasters you have to build for a certain intensity or excitement, and we can do that here too. But I haven't really decided fully. The scenario goals and what rides I pick usually come last. What's going to be different on this map, I'm going to limit how many rides you can research, so that makes it much more challenging. Because in all my previous scenarios, you can research everything in the game. It's just behind a research wall, and I just give you a few rides in the beginning. But in this case, I'm going to somewhat copy Future World's opening attraction list to this map a little bit, maybe with some little variations. But I like the way they chose what rides that you have to pick and choose. Just going back to RCT2 levels is kind of interesting, because the way they designed their maps was completely different on how the maps were designed for Parkitect. Because in RCT2, you don't have a decoration rating. You get people saying that you have nice decorations because you put them around, but there's really no significant decoration rating system, not like Parkitect. So there's another layer of gameplay that I do appreciate about Parkitect, and it's kind of a negative on RCT2, but RCT2 was a good game in its time, and so yeah, RCT2 I played much more of that game than some of the original RCT1. So I'm probably gonna copy some more or get some inspirations from those maps. I've been going back and forth from that game to this game to see what inspirations I can pull. Yeah, fun fact. It's funny because Crocodile Jungle was an inspiration from a RC2 map. It was called, I think it was called Rainforest Plateau or something. I can't quite remember, but that was the same idea too. Because I wanted to make sure that there was a temple you can get to, and there's forest, and it unlocks. Rainforest Plateau does the same thing, kind of. So I've basically pulled inspiration from a lot of RC2 maps. So on to the next building. I'm gonna call this building Voltec right now because it has the colors of Voltec. So somewhat Fallout related. I don't know. I might add some Fallout Easter eggs in the game just to be fun, because Fallout's one of my other favorite games. So this is just gonna be another weird looking building with different architecture of shapes. There's really no definite architecture for the city. I don't want to make every building the same, because that's what Future World did in RCT2. Everything is one color, either a tan building or a black pyramid with blue lighting in it. I don't necessarily want to do that, so I want to make Hyperion City more like a mixture of building styles. So maybe like this might be a little bit of inspirations from Outer Worlds, which will be coming out later this year, to Fallout, to maybe Cyberpunk in a way. So those are the sci-fi things I'm pulling from. So I might have to do some neon lights or something for advertisements. So this is going to be more of a mix match city in the middle of nowhere, basically. So also the idea around the border of the city, and I don't know how I'm going to achieve this yet, but I want to do some type of optical illusion where you think that there's a force field around the city, but there isn't. So I haven't figured out how that's going to look. You might see that in the second video, me experimenting on this optical illusion in a way. I want to do some type of generator, because maybe we can make the planet not breathable, but yet this city sits in it, and there's a force field that keeps it from, well, oxygen. You need the oxygen to breathe, whatever these people do. I might have to put some shielding or some type of tube system over the roadway to actually make it more believable. But I might fix that later off screen, or I might add it for the next video. Haven't decided yet. But this is kind of how the process of me working on a project like this sometimes. Because I have the behavior of sometimes not finishing projects, and I've done this before in real life, to Parkitect stuff, to other projects I do. On my spare time I do Lego models, and I sometimes don't finish projects at all and they just sit in my room. But I want to try to finish this map too. That's why I gave myself that small little goal of doing 10 campaign levels to give myself basically a deadline to finish, and I'm very pleased that I got to finish those 10 scenarios. So this scenario is kind of a bonus for you guys at this point, because I do have other ideas that I want to pursue and complete, and I think it will flesh out more of this game, because the scenarios of the original campaign did give us a lot of places to go, but there's also places that we haven't gone, and so this is like one of those places. Hyperion City will be one of those places. So I'm placing down some more, I don't know, generators that will later be built later, but I kind of just jump around. As you can see, that's kind of the behavior. Trying to figure out some windows for this vault tech type of building. Kind of like the blue and the yellow. Putting in some basically lighted up windows. It looks good. I liked it. So I'll probably add, I mean, I don't know how many buildings are going to be in this city. There's going to be a lot of buildings. Probably. Yeah, we'll see. And I need to figure out where the monorail should go. I'm thinking the monorail should be like toward, like almost the middle of the streets, but the streets are kind of an even number, so that's kind of hard to figure that out. But I didn't like those circles that I put on the building. Kind of drags away from the attention, so I kind of deleted them. And then I just kind of try to do some different texture work, like some brackets or something. That didn't work out. Just experiment basically, and just sit there and do things. Half the time was basically looking at my buildings and not doing nothing, because you can't. Sometimes looking at a blank canvas kind of just distracts, and so you kind of have to sit back, look back, and see what you can do with it. But yeah, this is the new map. Starting off will be Hyperion City. I should be able to finish this in at least a month, maybe a little less. Depends on how fast I get to work on this, and also make these videos for you guys. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and I will see you guys in the next video.